get nuts! Come on, let's get nuts.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So, yeah, this whole Artemis thing, we're going to the moon again anyway.
Yeah.
But they're not landing on the moon. They're going around the moon this time, and then going back at a future date, apparently.
Well, what are they calling it? They're calling it proving ground mission, which kind of suggests that if something goes wrong now, lads, we won't be going back for a while. We're going to have to reassess or something, you know?
Yeah. When was so this is Artemis II, right? Isn't this Artemis II?
Yeah. Artemis 1 was some sort of unmanned rocket or something they fired up there recently.
Yeah. So NASA are putting it up online about February the 6th, but that's not the launch date. That's the date where they're going to find their exact window for launching, if that makes sense.
Oh, okay. I thought they were launching on February 6th.
That's from what I've seen anyway, because I've seen it. I'm just checking it up here now.
Yeah, because I thought the numerology was good there with the 2626. I thought there might be a reason for that, but I don't know.
Yeah, so I'm actually asking Grok here, and it's telling me that no firm launch date yet. NASA targets no earlier than February 6th, pending a critical wet dress rehearsal, which is that would be in your full fueling, and countdown test as early of the 31st of January. If successful, February 6th, between February 6th or 8th, or else the 10th or the 11th, a window opens, and backups run into March or April.
Will they be filming the launch live? Will it be televised live?
There must be. There's no. I don't know. I don't watch the news these days. But do you watch the news?
There hasn't been. No, I don't. I don't. We don't have the mainstream channels or anything. So
yeah,
I kind of just get what I get from the internet. But I don't know if there's a lot of. Is it getting much attention? Or is there a lot of excitement about it?
It's a 10-day lunar flyby, right? And this is a mad stat. Like, I suppose if you're kind of into the launches of, I suppose, the moon missions and things, can you guess what year was the last journey that humans made outside low orbit?
Was it 72?
Yeah, you're spot on. Yeah.
72,
you looked this up, you fucker, did you?
Oh yeah, I've done my research this time, Jenny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? It's mad. Yeah, and I was looking up what was called the Challenger from 1986.
Yeah.
And how that was like. I think we actually did. You show me a documentary a couple of years ago? Was it your man from the Plain Truth or something like that? He believed that that was a fake explosion, or that they, it was kind of like they were sending people off to the moon. One of them was a school teacher, so all the high schools across America were watching it live, or a lot of them were watching it live, and the rocket took off and then exploded, and all the astronauts were killed, and the whole country was traumatized because it was like watching a live snuff movie nearly, and particularly for the secondary school students who were watching this high school teacher going off into space. What was her name? Krista McAuliffe. But yeah, there's a few theories out there that they faked that. And I was just looking at the crew that are going up now. And
that was Apollo 13 in 1970.
No, that wasn't Apollo. No, it's Challenger 1986.
Oh, sorry. Right.
Yeah. That one didn't even hardly get off the ground. I think it was like 70 seconds into the air. It was obviously up there, but
yeah.
But the crew that are going up now have their names written down here, but it's a very diverse crew, and it kind of it seems to tick all the diversity boxes. And this is a very serious situation, where you're going off into space, and you just imagine that they're definitely going to get the 4 best people in America to do this, or the 4 best people in the world to do this, but they've got the first black guy and the first woman and they threw in a Canadian as well because they wanted the first non-American. There's only one straight white guy on the fucking flight, just
flying the flag high.
it just it
Diversity,
you
man.
you would think that diversity would not be a factor in this,
Yeah.
and they're just that seems to be one of the most important things about it.
Yeah. I've looked up here as well. Yeah, she was a payload specialist, the teacher in space, Chris McAuliffe. But even on that one, Apollo 13, sorry, that's the one that I was thinking of. There was an issue with the oxygen tank in the service module that exploded. That was in 1970. It was 56 hours after launch. And that's actually, funny enough, that's where the phrase Houston, we've had a problem. So it was a crew report.
Yeah. That was that reminds me now. Yeah, I don't know much about that one, but I remember they made a movie. I think they made a movie in the 90s with Tom Hanks. Did you ever see it, Apollo 13? No,
I never watched it. I must watch it though.
did you not? No, it was a good one for back in the day, But yeah. I remember the trailer on repeat. Houston, we have a problem.
And then that other one, Apollo 1, 1967, where the cabin fire during a ground test killed Gus Grissom, Ed White, and Roger Caffey due to a pure oxygen atmosphere and flammable materials, and the spacecraft ruptured from the pressure. So it was the fire, and it killed those guys. If I remember correctly, I think it was Gus Grissom's wife. I heard this before, that Gus told the wife that this mission is going to fail. There's too much going wrong, too much things that aren't, I suppose, ready or for this mission to go. And I think he was silenced or something. He was there something about that?
Yeah. Again, it's all just conspiracy rabbit hole stuff that I remember now about this kind of stuff. But there was a suggestion, I think, that he wasn't really playing ball with maybe if they were going to fake the moon landing, because they had to win this race. If you want to go down that avenue, they had to win this race to the moon. And if they couldn't do it, they were going to fake it. And he didn't want to participate in a massive lie like that.
Yeah. So that was 1967. Sorry, that one. Yeah. So that was yeah. So he was just kind of voicing his safety concerns to his wife. That's what it was. And the wife was basically telling him, "Look, don't go on that spacecraft due to when it's launched. It's to launch." And he said, "I'm not going on it," and he did. So I think he was, and there was the famous thing as well about him putting or hanging the lemon on top in a simulator. Sorry, so I'm just figuring out more about that. So he picked a large lemon from his backyard tree, and his wife Betty asked him what's it for. He said, "I'm going to hang it on the spacecraft." He hung it on the Apollo 1 mission simulator, which was the mock-up training simulator, with a coat hanger to symbolize his frustration with the spacecraft's many defects and poor quality. So in other words, lemon it's a slang for unreliable or broken. So he was hanging it there as if that was I've never heard of that. Never heard of the lemon.
No, I've heard it in terms of a shitty car. Your man's after buying a fucking lemon.
Okay,
but I
right.
don't know if that's I don't know if we have that in this part of the world. Maybe I got it off the television or something.
Yeah, it must be American.
It's an American thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but like they have had these events before. So NASA have planned, we're going to go to the moon since 1972, and they keep on pushing back dates. So apparently, like, you'd even read comments there that are underneath some posts that talk about, okay, the February 6th launch, that, they're just going to push it back again and there's going to be a new date. So apparently that has happened a lot. And again, this feeds into the conspiracy people that are saying that, they'll just keep pushing it back because they can't do the fucking thing. But
yeah. That kind of reminds me of the whole Van Allen radiation belt thing.
Yeah.
Because like I've been repeating that for years, and just researching this episode. I can't. It was almost like a Mandela effect. Like, no, they always knew that the Van Allen radiation belt was there. They never said they couldn't pass through it. It was discovered in 1958, apparently, by the first NASA satellites, Explorer 1 and 3 or something. Because a lot of the people who say they never went to the moon will tell you that, oh, they passed through the Van Allen radiation belt because they didn't know it existed. When they're asked about it now, how are you going to do it? We don't have the technology to get through it. But they now all the information, the official information anyway, is saying that no, they had the thing equipped to pass through it. And they knew they were going to spend X amount of time in it. I think this time they're going to be spending about 55 minutes or something to an hour inside the Van Allen radiation belt, and they'll pass through it. And they'll have monitors monitoring all that shit.
Yeah, Charles Duke there, he was the 10th person to walk on the moon, right? So he did an episode with Bart Brill. So he's famous. Bart Brill is that lad we've talked about him before. He spent
Is he the guy who got abducted?
No. He's the fella spent 20
not
years...
abducted by aliens, sorry, but abducted by the fucking feds or something. Is that guy? And drugged and...
I think so.
That's that guy.
Yeah, I think it is, was it?
Yeah. I think we talked about him a couple of years ago.
Maybe, I think. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, so this lad, he keeps on saying, Bart Brill, that, look, I was fully on board. When I was growing up as a kid, I had the posters, everything of the moon landing up my room. I thought it was, the greatest achievement of humankind. And he just loved it. He was all in for it. But then, as over time, he was just picking up in bits and pieces, anomalies, that things just weren't matching up. And then he did his study, and for 20 years he's made documentaries and all, and he's fully convinced that it was faked. And so Charles Duke and Bart Brill, they were on the Danny Jones there not so long ago, Danny Jones podcast. But Bart Brill was kind of shooting himself in the foot sometimes, because he was saying he has a website, bartbrill.com, where he has all this footage that he's used in his documentaries that proves that the moon landing was faked. But there's some footage, like there's one he talks about Putin, and Putin is there with some officials, and he's been showed on the screen an AI model that has basically studied one of the photos of the moon landing from 1967 and saying that it is AI generated, or sorry, that it's faked. So then, in the subtitle, I've seen the video, I think I've shown it to you before, we've talked about this, but in the subtitle, your man, whoever was there, was told Putin, and this has discovered that the photograph is faked, and he goes, oh, I'm not surprised, or something like that. Yeah. So Bart Brill is using that, but then Danny Jones asked him, okay, but where'd you get this video? Oh, I found it was on Fox News, something like back in 2000, I don't know, whenever. And he goes, yeah, but where did they find that? He says, so they're saying, look, you have this evidence, but where did you exactly get it from? It's just like me saying I found it on YouTube, but still.
Yeah.
But look, that mightn't be something that could disprove it. But there's another thing as well that came up. I can't remember exactly who it was, but there was one of the astronauts that Bart Brill asked to. He gave him a Bible, and he said, share or swear on camera on the Bible that you landed on the moon. And that astronaut did.
Right.
And Bart Brill doesn't talk about that. Bart Brill talks about the time that he asked Neil Armstrong to swear in the Bible.
And a bunch of others, yeah.
And he didn't. So that's the one he kind of goes.
You can't do that. Yeah, you can't do that. Because I always thought that was quite interesting, I saw the clip of himself going around to multiple astronauts and watching them get real fucking pissed off about it. And I wonder, like, for example, if he went around, or if anyone went around to anyone who claimed to have climbed to the top of Mount Everest and say, put your hand on the Bible that you climbed to the top of Mount Everest, would all of them, or the majority of them, go, no, fuck you? I imagine most people wouldn't have an issue with that. That's why I always thought it was a bit strange.
It was Michael Collins, actually, that he got to swear in the Bible.
Okay, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
I saw him. I think did fucking Buzz Aldrin punch him? And I heard the audio of him interviewing. It'll come to me now. Mitchell, Edgar Mitchell, I think was. Yeah, he went to his house, but again, like, Mitchell got real pissed off because he was under the impression that he was not under the impression that he was about to be quizzed about the legitimacy. He thought this was just going to be a nice, polite interview. And he basically told your man, get the fuck out of the house. And you can hear on the audio Edgar Mitchell's son saying something like, do you think we should get the CIA to whack him, Dad?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Do you think I should call the CIA? Yeah.
But
and he has that on tape.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know where I stand. I'm 50-50 on it. I don't know. There's lots of, like, as Charles Duke says, if we faked it once, why did we fake it 6 more times? And how come there's no whistleblowers coming out saying that it was faked? But then,
and why? What? Like, then you have the Russians and the fucking Indians and the Chinese with their aerospace programs. They're not coming out saying that it was faked. You know, so if it's faked, it's a global narrative.
Yeah.
Just like the JFK assassination, just like basically fucking most massive conspiracies. There's nobody, like the KGB didn't come out and go, we investigated that JFK assassination. From where we're looking at, it definitely wasn't just Oswald. They're not teaching their students that in Russian schools, you know.
And you imagine they would, because if they want to see the downfall of a rival nation,
if they're all real enemies, and they're like, fucking Americans are over there making up fake history, lads. They would, wouldn't they?
But
and
Bart,
if you'd lost the space race, and then you figured out the fuckers faked it, then you would come out and go, no, our cosmonauts will be the first to the moon now, you fuckers, because you never got there, you know.
Bart has pushed back on that one. He was asked about it, and he's reasoned saying that he has a contact within the Chinese airspace program, and that's saying, look, these nations like Russia, China, they're using it as blackmail. So America are giving them something.
Oh, like they're giving them technology. You said that to me before, actually. Yeah, that in return for their cooperation with their official bullshit story.
But sure, how do you know that this Chinese lad isn't a plant by the American government? Like, he's I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
You can always be questioned.
So what do you think? Do you think this is going to be real? Do you know, because like, would you have been under the impression that like astronauts would have to be physically fit as well? You know, that they'd have to be real tip-top condition for in an extreme environment, you know?
Well, it depends. It depends how long you're in space, like, because your muscles and your bones do decrease in size, don't they? Due to the gravity. Anyway, and they have little machines up there that take exercise. So
yeah, they'll be basically like rowing machines or something, and they're supposed to do it for 2.5 hours a day. But I'm just thinking, like, in terms of, like, I know that one of them is a fucking former naval commander or something like that. But you'd imagine, like, that they'd be sending up, you know, real special forces guys, really fit, strong, physically capable guys who are going to be capable of performing under extreme pressure, you know.
But if it's not required, you know, the physicalities, I suppose, the G-force still on the way up. Let's check that up. What is the G-force?
I looked it up, and I looked it up. I was kind of comparing astronauts to fighter pilots,
right?
And they, in a nutshell, the G-forces that the astronauts will experience will be less than a third of what the fighter pilots will experience at max. That's just what the internet told me there earlier on.
Right.
So, you know, I don't know much about it, but I thought that they were put through like real tough tests and stuff. Like, what's that thing that they put them into and they spin them around really fast until they fucking pass out? Do they do that still, or was that something just in the movies?
Probably for space, probably for fighter jets, but or jet pilots, you'd imagine.
Yeah.
But they do a lot of their training underwater then as well with the spacesuits.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. But another thing that I heard, actually, I was telling you about this, tis your man, he's a UFO investigator. Again, we're connecting this all to UFOs. James Fox. So this guy, his most famous case that he looked into was the Virginia back in 1996, I think it was, in Brazil. So there's this apparent UFO crash, and these alien beings, creatures were spotted sprinkled around in the little town or city of Virginia, and there's these three young lady girls that came across it, and there was this cop that actually grabbed onto one of the aliens, and he actually died later on of cancer, I think.
Is this some
Um,
bacterial infection or something? They just couldn't
yeah,
figure it out, was it?
yeah, and then there's a lot of other like um I suppose people in respected positions that came up saying that they have seen part of that as well. But James Fox was saying that he was good friends with Buzz Aldrin's sister. She died. And when he started off, he was just like a normal Joe Soap, but he just was just obsessed with the whole phenomenon. He just wanted to figure shit out. And still is like that. And one of his however, he got in contacted anyway with your Wanda's sister, Buzz Aldrin's sister. And between her and some other journalist and some other contacts, they were able to get him in contact with Buzz Aldrin. And Buzz Aldrin at the time, I think it was back in the 90s, and he was doing like a book tour in France. So, like, James Fox didn't have much money behind him. So Buzz said, "Look, I'm on a book tour, but I'm on a couple of days of a break in South France, and you can meet me then." So he borrowed money, got another guy with him to take a camera to go out and get this interview, because this was a nobody, as he seen himself, going out getting an interview off someone. And sorry, so the whole premise of the interview was the sister, Buzz Aldrin's sister, told James Fox that Buzz told her many times of a UFO following the spaceship during their Apollo missions. And he'd
Yeah,
never,
I've heard that.
yeah, so he was telling her that story. Buzz Aldrin was.
Yeah,
So
I
then
think
that's the reason.
I think that the term he used was escorted them to the moon or something. This thing just
Yes,
escorted
yes.
them to the moon.
So anyway, he got out there, got out to France, and then James was asking, okay, when can we meet? And Buzz kept on pushing out by a day here, another day. So then your man was running out of money, and I think was it in Montpellier or someplace? I don't know. It was, I think it's Monaco actually. I think it was Monaco. It's an expensive place anyway. And your man just didn't have the money to fucking stay there for longer. So he said, "Look, I'm just being a bit forward." I said, "But I apologize. Can we just get this done ASAP, because I'm not in the financial way to get to stay here any longer, and you promised that you'd do the interview." And he says, "Okay, come to my hotel there tomorrow. Come to the lobby, and I'll meet you at 12 o'clock, we'll say." So then he got there, and himself and his cameraman were there. They had a coffee and a croissant, and a hotelier receptionist guy came out to him, and he says, "There's a phone call here for you." So they went on the phone. It was Buzz, and his whole tune was changed. And he says, "I'm not doing it." And James asked him, "What do you mean you're not doing it?" He says, "I can't do the interview." There's another fella, can't remember who it was, but I think it was a military guy or some guy that was involved with the space agency or NASA. But he was kind of talking a lot about UFOs as well, and he was getting a lot of stick from, I suppose, public saying, "Ah, look at that fucking wacko job." But at the same time, your man Buzz was telling him, "Look, I have this project that's going on. It's looking to get funding for sending civilians to space, basically on space tours, showing like what they're trying to
Hmm.
do now."
Yeah,
And he says, "I can't jeopardize this. I can't do the interview. Sorry." And that was it. Then your man had to go back, and I don't think he ever got the chance to meet with him later. But he did meet him at some other conference, but he didn't say it to him. Um, it was actually on a TV show. James Fox was on. I can't remember, some famous TV show host anyway from America, and he was mad to say it to him on live on air to call him out. "You fucked me over back," because he
yeah,
was talking about UFOs he mentioned UFOs on the TV show. But
yeah.
anyway, sure, he's 94 now, Buzz Aldrin, and his sister died. And the sister actually later said to James Fox, the investigator, that whatever happened there over a period of time, Buzz wasn't telling her the stories anymore about the UFO. And it's like someone got to him and someone silenced him.
Is
Someone
he
could have
still alive
threatened
now?
him. He's 94, yeah.
94. Fuck, I thought he was
No,
dead. Is Neil Armstrong died recently? Did he?
he died, he died a bit ago. I think he died something
Did
like
he?
10 years ago. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But he only did 2 interviews, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah.
Neil Armstrong.
Mm.
And that one interview that he did to some college, some college graduation, that basically saying that the future young people will unveil the mysteries, unveil truths, secret mysteries or something, secret layers or
Yes,
something like that.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
And come here. What was I going to say to you?
fishy.
I was thinking about, their first press conference when they came back, and people would say, "Look how fucking glib these 3 lads look. They don't look like they're so excited that they just got back from the moon."
Yeah,
Um, but it reminded me then of what you were going to tell me about. I haven't watched it yet. What Space Cadets? That's
yeah,
interesting shit, man.
yeah.
Have you watched it?
No, I haven't. But it was James Fox
Okay.
that interview on Danny Jones again. It was only out a couple of weeks ago. I spotted it just on Spotify, and I love listening to him. James Fox is very good. But he's been on a few actual. I remember back, was it 2 years ago, and I thought it was, oh, is this NASA were doing this press conference, this live kind of a thing, and they basically said that they were investigating UFOs. They were setting up a team, and I was expecting like, oh, this is it. This is going to be the moment where NASA are going to say aliens exist. We've been studying, but they didn't. They just said they're setting up. There has been cases of UFOs. We don't know what they are. Um, And then one of the questions, James Fox was there, and he asked him, "Do you believe that there's aliens out there?" And he goes, "Of course I do." He says, "Sure, that's part of our mission at NASA, to explore the universe and find other life out there." He said to be very naive to, out of all the billions of star systems out there, that there isn't life out there. Um, so then James was trying to get a bit of fucking flesh out of the answer, and your man wasn't budging, but he was just basically saying, we're putting together a team going to, I think it's at A-tip. Yeah, A-tip. Basically, what they have done before, like Arrow, these governmental parties that are set up just to investigate UFOs, yeah, sightings and things. But yeah, I think he'd be in tandem with George Knapp and all these figures, like basically trying to push the whole thing out and get Congress and all in terms of these what's it called, to get the disclosure out there. But yeah, that Virginia one is a mad one as well. Like there's something coming out there as well about the chief brain surgeon in the hospital, apparently, that saw this being up on top of a hospital bed. It was brought to the hospital. So it was brought by this guy that grabbed one of them first, found it wandering around the streets or something, grabbed it and brought it to a clinic. And then the clinic looked into, one of the persons come out of the clinic, looked into the back of the car and says, "No, don't get it to the hospital." So went to the hospital, and then your man told the man, the brain, so the neuroscience or neurosurgeon went to look in at the alien, and then just lying there on the bed, and he told James Fox in an interview that it's like I wasn't looking at something human, number one, and it's like he was looking at an angel. It had this outer worldly presence to it, this kind of aura that came off it. And I'll show you a picture of what these beings supposedly look like.
All right.
So there you go. This is a fella very respected, and he's ran multiple hospitals. This guy, this brain surgeon guy, so he's well respected. So when he's coming out and saying this, and he's still practicing like this, he's obviously, if he's bullshitting, why would you do that to harm your reputation?
Mm.
And there's a rake of other people. It's a great documentary, actually. I watched it all. There's another one now by James Fox as well, based on the Virginia incident as well. But it's called, oh Jesus, Moment of Contact. So I'm going to share the screen there with you. This is the most accurate representation of it. So see that one there?
Oh yeah.
That one. So with the three horns, red eyes.
Yeah.
This is supposedly what the three girls seen. They were teenagers or very young, and the three of them were just walking down through an alleyway, and in the corner they've seen this hunched down. It looked like that it was either hurt or it was scared, and the girls obviously jumped up and yelped. And one of them, the last one, two of them ran away, and one of them was just kind of there, just looking at it, glued to it for a few moments, and she got the feeling that the alien was asking for help, but in a panic, she just left. But what movie does that remind you of? The person that the
I was
kid,
just going to say Lord of the Rings.
no,
Is it?
E.T. Do you remember the kid
Oh, a little bit,
that
yeah.
helped the alien that was in need? And even that girl said to James, she's a lady now, obviously. They're recently enough, because they're all going to testify in front of American Congress and all this, and basically saying, what would have happened if I helped that creature? How would my life have changed? Like, you'd wonder, do the likes of Steven Spielberg, was he basing that off of that? No, so that was before that, so that was back in the 80s. So, like, he has Men in Black, E.T. He's coming out with this new movie called Disclosure Day. Actually, it's coming out in June or July. You'd wonder, have these people any bit of, like, I suppose, context within the UFO field in terms of
Yeah.
scientists, and because in that film Close Encounters of the Third Kind, there's a guy that actually makes a cameo inside there. He plays a scientist, and he was on a team that were looking into UFOs for the government. I have to find his name. But yeah, there's a load of other things. So then there's this
Yeah,
other case. Go on, sorry.
No, do you remember, just on what you were saying there, do you remember that movie Paul? Did you ever watch that one?
I watched bits and pieces. That was more of a comedy, like, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a comedy, but the alien was telling the lad stories about how he was sitting down with movie directors and helping them fucking come up with storylines and giving them information to write their scripts and stuff like that. I think he even mentioned sitting down with Spielberg or James Cameron, one of those guys. So those kind of
There,
little ideas have been out there for a while.
yeah, there you go. Look, Jay Hynek. He was part of. I can't remember Jay Hynek. Jay Hynek UFO. Um, investigation. Yeah, he wrote a report like for the government back in. Oh yeah, Project Blue Book. That was it.
Okay.
So he was chief scientific consultant to the U.S. Air Force's UFO investigations back then. Project Sign Grudge and Project Blue Book, which was from 52 to 69. And there he was making a cameo in Close Encounters. How much information did he give to Steven Spielberg? Because apparently that movie is very accurate to some of the cases that have happened about UFO cases.
I've never watched that movie, have you?
I've watched it, yeah, it's good. And like
Is it? Yeah.
there's a moment where one of these lads that he's after getting having an encounter and his face is all red basically. He's after getting a radiation burn. And that's what you hear a lot about these people that get close to UFOs, spacecrafts, that they get this radiation burn. Like that other case, what's her man's name? He's on Joe Rogan again. And there's a movie about him. He was out cutting trees. We've talked about this before. He was out cutting trees
Yes.
with his buddies, and he was
Yeah.
abducted. And a couple of days later, or something like a week later, he was found in town someplace.
Yeah, I
And
watched that movie as well. What's it called again? He was
Jesus,
like they were lumberjacks, weren't they?
yeah,
Fire in the Sky.
Travis, Fire in the Sky, Travis
Yeah.
Walton,
Yeah, good man.
Travis Walton, yeah. This lad.
Yeah.
If he was asking you to hop into the back of a white van, would you hop in?
Is Travis still alive now?
He is, yeah, 72. Yeah, he was
Get
on
in
Joe
touch with him, would
Rogan.
you?
Huh?
Get in touch with him.
Yeah, I wonder where he come on. But
I doubt it, but
yeah, so there's this other thing there lately as well that came up. I said I'd mention it there. So apparently there was this fella that was consulting someone that was involved in the Bank of England and telling them to prepare for a collapse, financial collapse, in the announcement of UFO alien disclosure. I'm going to look that up in Grok actually, get the story. So yeah, I don't know.
do you think what's your thinking, John, on all this anyway? Like, do you think these aliens are real, or what do you think? Do you think it's fucking
I like actually when we asked Paul Stobbs that question, and it was an answer that I haven't
he
really
said
heard
that
of before.
he thinks they're interdimensional.
No, he thinks they're all made up.
Oh no, sorry. He thinks the
It's made up. All these UFOs are made up.
but
They're
then he
fake.
does believe in the Nephilim and that kind of stuff. He believes they're the disembodied spirits of fucking Nephilim, the spirit, the what you see in the. You asked him about what you see in the DMT world.
Yeah.
Uh,
And he reckons outer space that it's a lot
fake.
closer than what we think.
Mm.
But he didn't say nothing about the world being flat. He says, I'm not going to say whether the world is flat or what shape it is, but
Mm.
he thinks it's contained in like, or a dome or whatever, but it's like contained.
Yeah.
Almost
Yeah.
like he's saying about simulation.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I
Um,
think like there, like without even getting into the shape of the world, I think there's a lot of good information within the whole flat Earth theory that doesn't
yeah.
prove that the Earth is flat, but it proves, like, for example, like you'll see glitches in their footage from the International Space Station, bubbles in space, and this kind of stuff. And
Mm,
you know, if you can prove things like your man there has a green screen, he's not in the International Space Station. That just proves that they're faking that, but it doesn't prove that the Earth is flat. But a lot of that kind of information gets thrown out because it's you're flat. That's flat Earth theory, so it has to be bullshit. That kind of way.
Another thing that ran across my mind there, I meant to say it earlier, but just to even talk about the astronauts, right? So on that Danny Jones podcast, when he had Charles Duke debate, or sorry, the other way around actually, it was your man Barty Brill debating him. And Charles Duke was saying that he was almost like that he didn't know that your man Barty Brill was against or saying that the moon landing was faked. And even though Barty Brill was saying, we've had this conversation literally before we started airing, when we came into the building, you said, I remember a phone call that you gave me, Bart, a number of years ago about this, and they were laughing about it and stuff. And then on air, he said numerous times to Bart, "Oh, like what's your deal then? You think that the moon landing was faked?" And then Bart was laughing. He goes, "Yes, you know my exact stance. You know
Mm,
that's what I'm trying to say, and you're lying. You're such a good liar. You lie to
mm,
your granddaughter now and tell her that you've been to space or you landed on the moon." And he goes, "We land," in his southern accent, "We landed on the moon." And then like Danny Jones was asking him, "How did you feel? I just want to get like your sense of what was that emotion when you first stood on the moon?" And he's like, "We were really excited." So Danny Jones had a conversation with James Fox, the investigator, and he said he was surprised by the way all he could get out of him was, I felt excited. We were all excited. And Danny Jones was saying, if you were landed on the moon, you'd feel a lot more than excited. You'd think
mm,
that you'd have a lot more words to say than just excited. But
mm,
then he said, maybe some people are like that. They just mightn't have that emotional expression. Whereas
mm.
someone else be like, oh my God, it was a life changing moment. Like some astronaut said, it turned them to more towards God or something. And
Yeah.
they had like
Yeah.
epiphanies and all this.
Yeah. Edgar Mitchell said something like that when he said he looked back down at the Earth. He was like, Yeah, that
Yeah.
kind of an experience, like what are we all having these fights between our countries when he was looking down. But that kind of ties into a bit of sort of the globalization thing as well.
Yeah, because he was saying like that we're all connected to one, we're all one, and he got the epiphany that consciousness, universe, everyone, we're all part of the same entity.
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah,
there you go.
yeah.
Almost like a
But like,
trippy
you
kind
know,
of psychedelic kind of belief.
yeah. But I do think that you would be a lot different. Like, you know, I did a skydive about 15 years ago. I was high as a kite for
Did
about
you?
2 weeks after it. Like, you know,
Jesus,
I remember
never
like
knew that.
I met my wife that night. We didn't get together then, but we were chatting for a few hours, and she said like, because she knew some of the people that I did it with as well. And she said, to be honest, by the end of the night, you were fucking annoying. You were so fucking. You were every time you'd look over, you'd high five each other and shit. But we were just buzzing off it, like, you know, we
Yeah,
were
yeah.
buzzing. And so I imagine, you know, walking on the moon, coming back, you would be on a high for sure, you know.
But he said as well, we didn't have time to really take it in because on the way up, you're focusing all your controls. When
Mm,
you're there, you're on your mission of taking samples and stuff.
yeah.
And
Plus, you don't want to die. It might be fucking real scary as well. You're up there, like you're not. There's no one going to save you if something goes wrong. Like,
yeah, and the macro or the micro asteroids and stuff that to be hitting the little rocks, aren't they afraid of them as well? But
mm,
like, there's
yeah,
one of the astronauts from one of the Apollo missions, and it was in an interview. Do you remember there, as you said there a while ago, they were all laid out at the table, and they all looked like that they were after seeing a ghost. Um, and they were asked, "What did the stars look like?" I think it was that in interview, and they says, "Oh,
yeah,
we didn't see any stars because the reflection
yeah.
off the moon." Yet, one of the astronauts said later in a book that they wrote, there was a chapter in the book, or a good portion of the book that was talking about the stars that they saw, how
Mm,
amazing they were, how bright they were,
mm.
even though they said in the interview. But like, it could be a case of MK Ultra. Were they
Getting
brainwashed
back,
into
here we
belief?
are. Yeah. So back to Space Cadets.
Yeah.
Tell us the premise of that TV show.
So again, I didn't hear about it either, but sorry, fuck it, I
You
did
didn't
a
see it.
Donald Trump. I was weaving there. Um, but yeah, Space Cadet was a BBC TV show back in 2005, and the whole premise of the show is they were taking people unknowingly, and they were going to convince them that they landed on the moon, and they did it.
Yeah,
I must go and watch it.
yeah.
Um,
I'm gonna watch it as well.
but like, look again, I'm 50-50, but MK Ultra, if you can control minds, if you can convince people, them astronauts maybe 100% fully believe that they landed on the moon.
Hmm.
Because that'd be the best way
Yeah,
to do it. That would be the
yeah,
best way to do it.
yeah,
Like you could
yeah.
be threatening people's lives and families and all this. Um,
Mm.
but I don't know.
If they think they actually did it, they'll
Yeah,
stick to their guns till the end of time. They'll never have guilt.
yeah, exactly. So, um, yeah, I think we'll leave there today. And I think,
Yeah,
look, we'll definitely do another episode. It'd be interesting anyway to see will that launch go ahead
yeah,
and what kind of footage will come back for it. And we'll see if there'll be a bit of hype as well. Because as we were saying
yeah,
there, there's no fucking
yeah.
hype.
Yeah, because like I was looking some of the stuff up and I was looking up their exercise. I want to see how fit they were and stuff. And there was like a 1 minute video of them exercising, showing them doing whatever tests they had to do. They had to pass some tests. It seemed fairly easy, and they only showed you about 30 seconds of them actually doing it, so you wouldn't even know if they did it. But the channel, I can't remember the name of the channel now, but the channel had 2 million subscribers, and that video was about 4 months old, and I think it only had like a couple of thousand, like two to it was a 2 or 4 thousand views altogether. So that's not a lot, like especially like the channel's got 2 million subscribers and they still can't get any interest in Artemis and the crew and stuff like that. I don't know if there's any real level of excitement. They're not,
Right.
you know,
The
there you go.
these I have the crew up here, right? Is this the that's the crew, is it? Artemis crew. Yeah, 4 days, 10 days, four crew, four members. There
Yeah,
you go.
yeah.
But this is them. They don't look fit enough, to be fair.
They what?
They look fit enough.
I know, like, I mean,
But
they're not out of shape or anything. Like,
you just felt as if,
I just, I just did not think that if it was something this important, then diversity would not have been a thing. Maybe just coincidentally, these are the four most qualified people in America. Um,
hmm,
but I recently saw something just before we go. I saw something there the other day about statistics with crashes, airline crashes, and there's only about 5% of the pilots in America at the moment are female, but they account for a massive disproportionate number of the crashes. I can't remember the exact number now. I shouldn't have brought it up, but
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. I'd be just going for the elite of the elite anyway, if it were me. I wouldn't want to be up there with, like, you wouldn't want to be up there with three women, would you? You'd rather be up there with like some superstars from the military, the smartest and the James Bournes of the military,
yeah. But how many of them are actually that want to go to space too? And there's some girl, she's like 23, 24, and she joined, I don't know, is it NASA or I don't know, SpaceX maybe, but she's training to be on that crew that'll go to Mars, and that crew won't be able to return. So
That's
she's
mad.
fully putting herself in there. Look, I just want to get there. I don't care about not returning. But how many are willing to do that? Like,
God, I wouldn't do it.
no, I wouldn't either. But yeah, we'll suss it out anyway, and sure
All right.
we'll see what the crack is.
All right. Good talking to you, man.